It's like almost 3 in the morning. And I think I got up like at 2 or something. I don't even know. Like I can't even keep track of like a few minutes. I feel so much like I'm in a dream. Like the same way I feel like when I'm dreaming, I feel like now. Like it's just weird. I feel so weird. And I'm definitely stressed, that's for sure. And, I have to keep sitting with it and sitting with it. I know it's probably like PTSD too, because of already having 2 places I lost. The first one I surrendered like as soon as they started saying stuff, I just was like, fuck, I gotta move and go find a place. And then, I found out after, you can usually stay in your house like a year after they foreclose. And so then the next one, when they foreclosed, then they didn't, it was different in the house wasn't in my name or anything. So it was like, I don't even remember what, I think they just called me resident and told me I had to leave, that the house was being auctioned. And then I went to the lawyer, and they said, and I called all the numbers and stuff, and they were like, no, that's you usually have like 6 months that you can stay at the house, because they never sell it at the first auction. That takes a long time. They sold it at the first auction and told me to get the hell out. And then the next house that we moved into, because we had to move into a rental, because that one I didn't hurry. I was like, okay, I'll just sit here and just wait it out and see what happens. And it was like push. And then the next one, we rented a place and moved in there. And like within a month, they sold the house. They told us we had to move out. Or they put the house on the market, and then I started trying to figure out if I could get it, but I was still having problems from my divorce, because all of the things that were in my name, he had not paid them. That's why I stopped the house thing. That's why I was like, this is bullshit. He's destroying my credit, and I'm sitting here paying his stuff, and his loan was fucked. And my lawyer was like, there was nothing, they couldn't get it in my name. The whole thing was some bullshit. And so, but, it was like where I had to go against my own, like you set rules for yourself through life, and you have to always be breaking the rules sometimes. Sometimes you got to just break the rules. And it's uncomfortable when you do things that you think are like, well, that's not good. And then you do it, But it's all about the learning. I know that. But so, it was like, and then I got this place, and it was the timing and everything. Like, I don't think they're going to take this place away from me. I think that the banks and stuff are going to crash. I think everything's going to crash. But we'll see, I mean, like, I'm going to go see a lawyer next week. But there's so many things, just so many other things where I've done so much work. It's like, you owe me, motherfuckers. Like, I've increased the value of this house so much. It's insane. And then you think that you can just come and take it from me. So, I don't know, it's their system. But like I said, I would be the biggest hypocrite in the fucking world, telling people, well, leave the system, fuck this shit. And then I'm sitting here behind, oh, I gotta make sure I get my stuff paid. It's like, no, I'm gonna tell other people leave the system. I gotta fucking stand for my own things that I say. So, and then I do trust the universe, I do know, like, whatever's supposed to happen is supposed to happen. It's going to happen the way it's supposed to happen. The lessons are already set. And you've got to be, like, in tune with the things that happen in your life. And your decisions have to do with your consequences. But when I'm making decisions, I'm weighing out a lot of things. Like, and it does cross my mind, like, well, you have brain injury. Are you really making good decisions? Was that really smart? But it's like, I got to go with, like, I'm sitting here, out here preaching, standing on my soapbox, telling people we got to abandon this system. So what kind of phony ass person would I be to sit here and be, panicky? And besides about trusting the universe, like what kind of person would I be if I wasn't trusting? And the whole thing is falling apart. And I do know that. And I do know that the banks are corrupt and this whole thing is corrupt. And I had already tried to stop the house the one time and then went back on it. And so now, I stopped it again. And now, the cards are falling how they're going to fall. But I still have to do what is right, even if it's scary, even if it's making me nervous and having PTSD of like, but I know what's next will be, it's going to be okay. Whatever is going to be is going to be, but now in my head, it's swimming around like, where would I go? Do I need to start packing? But I don't want to be like the first time where I just hurried and surrendered and just moved out. And then they start sending me stuff that I abandoned my house. Oh my God, Chase Bank is the most rotten. And I didn't even know how rotten JP Morgan was, but fuck, just their whole ethics, all the corporation, all the bankers, it's all the same. We're their chattel, we're their, and in between when I lost my house and I had to move into a rental before we moved into his house, that one rental, that one was so fucking haunted. Oh my God, that was a rough one. Because I've lived in a lot. I mean, I think probably most houses are haunted, have some kind of trapped energy or some kind of realms or something in it. But people just don't have awareness. But I have awareness of all that stuff. But it was so bad that everybody knew. Like, there was people who came to my house and saw things and were like, I'm never coming back here. My ex, he saw her all the time. She was always standing, hovering around him. She was always watching over him. It was, and she could not stand me. She treated me like I was the other woman, and she would constantly do stuff. So, anyways, that house was rough. That was just a lot of rough years. Fuck. From the time, because even before I got my brain injury, like it was already going. I was all going in all the wrong direction. Like I see totally why they had to give me a brain injury, because I was just like going into this, beating my head up against the wall, just like what everybody else is doing. I was total workaholic, worked 60 or 70 hours, just one shitty ass relationship after another. My kids, the older girls who were having kids, who were mad at me about stuff, teenage girls who were listening to the older girls be mad at me about stuff, so then they were mad at me about stuff. It was just like I was having a rough time. I was on fucking tons of pharmaceuticals. I don't even know how many then. But the one husband I was with, the addict guy, how he would just always tell me, well, you're an addict. I couldn't say anything about his doing cocaine or anything like that, because I was an addict because I took all these pharmaceuticals. But then, when I look at it, it was like, fuck, man. Wow, I was on a lot of stuff, I'm sure. I was just like any other drug addict. I mean, that's what the whole thing, they have you on street drugs or the drugstore drugs. That's all the same shit. So, anyways, I was a mess, I wasn't, but by the standards of our society, I was doing great. It was perfect. Everything was fine. It was all acceptable stuff. It was the stuff that we've grown accustomed to thinking is okay. And then you get a brain injury and everything stops. Everything changes in your life. And then you start noticing, like, when I lost track of time, and all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh. And I was I'd never wear a watch, fuck that, and I was always late to everything until I went to nursing school, and they made you feel such garbage. Like you're such garbage. You can't even get to a place on a schedule. Like, they put so much pressure on you to be, you know, it's like what they do in their programming, indoctrination of society. And so I was punctual somewhat. Like, I don't know. I think I was late a lot. You know, if we had a lunch date and I showed up half hour late, then, you know, it's kind of like, well, just expect it. And then I ended up having a daughter like that. I was like, oh, so then you get that other perspective, like, that's fucking annoying. I'm like, God, I got to do better with my schedule. And because it's one thing when you're doing it, when it starts happening to you, you get a new view of it. It gives you new perspective. And we need those different perspectives so that we can make our, you know, our generalized approach to living. So anyways, there's like a bunch of different things. So it's like I get to one part and it's like, okay, I'm going to this part or this part. Because because there was something that went, okay, because the one thing too is speaking about, you know, because I've been speaking so much about diagnoses and stuff like that. And I just saw this one doctor, this video is going all over the place. And the video shows this thing where people just all of a sudden fall down. And it's happening all over in China. And they, and we've seen the videos and stuff, and a lot of them, they spin around and do this weird little spin, and then they just go down like a, just boom. But they've done it on the fields, all sorts of things where they just go down. And this doctor is saying that that is totally not normal. That is a whole new thing. And she just comes right out and says, you know, these people treat us like we're lab rats, we're roaches to them, they don't care. And this is a new thing that they've done, is, you know, or lab experience, all this shit that I've been saying, and confirmation. And so she is saying that in this, you know, sudden thing, but she was saying that there's tons in China. And that's what I said. They targeted, that's what I heard, that they had targeted, they called it Asian men. But I think, I don't know over like in the more like Persian countries, like I don't even know how they fucking, because there's countries in Asia that are more Middle Eastern people. So then they have it. That's why the people in the Orient don't want to be called Asian, because they're Oriental. They're from the Orient. And there's people in Asia who are more Middle Eastern. So you can't lump them all together. But when I had heard that there was a protein that was targeted on a couple of different specific groups of men, one being Asian, and I think that is... when they were saying that, I think they were talking about not the overall, because they target it by like a tribe, a group. There's something like the guys in the Orient of Asia and the guys in the Middle Eastern kind of part of it. They have something different, so they can target this group, and then. But they can target this group with a different thing. That's the whole lot number thing. So you can make sure, you know, because there's people here who were targeted too. I think definitely a lot of darker men. I think that but a lot of men for sure were targeted, but there's a huge amount. I don't know. Who knows if it even looked up all of their numbers and stats, because it's all such lies. I can't even fucking believe right now they're coming out. The governor is coming out in Hawaii and saying, oh, we're lowering the number. There's only 94 people dead. Oh, what in the fucking hell? I guess the people on the news who don't go on social media and don't listen to people like me, then they believe that. They believe it. It's like, no, you have stolen a couple thousand kids and you've killed all their parents and family members. And so that there's nobody to complain about it. Like, this is disgusting. This is, oh my God, it's so disgusting. Um, and, in my world, there's so many people talking about like Oprah and the tunnels on the island, the guy next door, and the next island, is that where they got the kids? Where are the kid, and how do we even find them? Like, it's such big business in this disgusting world of these people. And it's so, it's all got to come to the surface. It's got to be, fuck, it's so extreme. But that just shows like how extreme it was without us seeing. Because now it's just like, it's nauseating. And, okay, because I've got some medical, like this is medical, and then there's also land stuff I wanted to talk about. On the medical thing too. Okay, so the one doctor who she was talking about, this sudden death and stuff. So she's saying a whole bunch of stuff. This, all of those kind of people who speak out get a lot more people to listen, because in our superficial society, we need degrees and stuff. I can't believe how many people come in, and then you say, well, my degree is science, and then they are on next door, Ted Royal and Matt Savage, they're like, you do not have a degree, you're not a nurse, and all this. It's like, what in holy hell? Okay, these people are, I swear to God, there's irrational people out there. And so, but I saw this other lady, and so she was talking about, okay, because I saw a few different things. Okay, so these things, how they told us like that they were eradicating certain things, all they did was relabel them. So they would just, the things were never going away. They just kept relabeling it so that they could tell us that they had this great cure, so that we would all line up to take them and make sure our kids get them. Oh my God, we don't want our kids to get sick. So let's put the sickness right in. And so, so that whole thing, so much about that stuff is coming out. Weird things about, there's a real weird thing about the PF one, something about maybe it's like a side effect or something that happened from this. So this other company, they made a new pill for this response. So this new magic pill has come out for that. So then the other place bought the other place so that they would make sure and get the money. So for their mistake, they also get the money from their mistake. So something, just this whole, when they get up here into this higher ranking money thing, when they get into the laundry system, this place where they make all these shell companies and all this hidden stuff. I mean, our life was simple when, we just went down to our little market, to the mom and pop shop. We bought stuff from local people. We got our food locally. And there's a whole thing about like having your honey locally. I bet you all of our different things growing them like that, the nature gives you back what you need. So I'm sure, but that's what they want everything outsourced. They want it in control of it. And then they want to tell us that we're all too much. It's like, your fucking dream of owning the world is probably too much. When you have to start, reducing the population by more than half, you're the one who's got the problem. You can't keep up, so fuck off. And so they're the burden to this planet. They're the ones that fucking poison it and just fucking tear it up and stuff. I don't know, I just knocked over. Oh, my kombucha. So anyways, so I saw this other person, and they were talking about Epstein-Barr virus. And so they were saying if you've had Epstein-Barr virus, that is your trigger, that is your body response when it goes into an autoimmune disorder. And so I had that Epstein-Barr. I don't know. I've gotten so many things. I got, what was that one called? The kissing, mono. I got mono when I was a nurse. And so I figured, well, you know, maybe I got it off a drinking fountain or something at school. Like, it was when I was in nursing school. And so I was like, fuck, I don't know how I got that. But I didn't know until later. And so I got myself cured from that. Then when I got the Epstein-Barr, then I did go to the doctor because I was so weak. I couldn't even stand up and take a shower. I was so weak. And I didn't know what was wrong with me. And that's when I found out I had the Epstein-Barr. And then they said it was related to something else, which I can't remember. This lady is saying it's associated with herpes virus or AIDS virus. And I got the herpes virus, back in, when I was like 20 years old. And so, you know, I've had that virus my whole time, you know, most of my life. And that, so many people have that. It's like most of us have it. And I don't know if I have the AIDS virus inside of me. I mean, they've got that out there everywhere. But in the Epstein, I've had a lot of blood tests since I had the Epstein-Barr, so I don't think so. But she was saying you have to have one of the two to get the Epstein-Barr. And I already know I had the Epstein-Barr. I was so fucking sick. And I've had a bunch of times where I would get that sick again, where it was like I couldn't get up. I felt so weak. And then I went back to the doctor. I said, well, I think I've got that Epstein-Barr thing again. And she said, oh, no, you can only get it once. I was like, okay, well, it feels the same, so I don't know. But I swear to God, I went another time and she told me that I had it again. Then I got it again. And she said, no, you can only get it once. I was like, but I already had it twice. I swear. There was the years I was on the pharmaceuticals, I was so fucking sick all the time. And they just give you another pharmaceutical. And I was so sick, just getting sicker and sicker. So, but my body took care of whatever, you know, and I got better. But I'll hear people talking like all about this autoimmune, you know, and I have such bad joint pain and stuff. And I'll always be thinking, I bet you that's what it is. I bet you and then plus the implants, then you get this, that's also a problem for, it's like an autoimmune response thing. And like the aching in my finger, oh my gosh, just this aching in my body and in my joints and stuff, and how it's just hit back so hard. And then and Stella keeps crying, so and I know she's got it, and she has the autoimmune because she's got the arthritis, and so you know, she has these same kind of things, and then mine would relate to her so much. So that was another thing where I kept thinking, I bet you I've got that autoimmune, but I'm not going to give it that energy. And then whatever, a couple of years ago, I mean, maybe it was last year. I don't even remember when I stopped, because that's another thing. I've stopped going to the doctor. I'm doing everything I can to pull out of the system. So that would just be weak ass shit if I was just, you know, sitting here paying the house and not standing up for what I know is right. When I know that this is I mean, I don't know how big the hole is, but the hole is there in the financial institution and the judicial and all the things with the government. So, you know, I guess we'll find out how big the hole is. We'll find out together. Maybe that's why. So But so when I got, uh, I think it was like the last time I went to the doctor. And then they did the blood test. And for some reason, she wanted to test me for Hep C. And she said in my age range that it's epidemic. Everybody's got Hep C. And nobody knows. So she said she needed to check me. And so I was like, sure, I'm sure I don't have Hep C. And so then I went back in to get the results. And I think she wanted to read, or was that another blood test? I've got no thing to, because I know the last blood test, because she wanted to redo it. And this was the last time I ever went. And I said, no, I just didn't. And they kept calling and trying to get, and I've just blown it off. I just ignore it. They send me things in the mail and stuff. I just ignore it. The insurance company sends me things. I just ignore it. So and if they cancel or whatever, but I'm not going to play these games. I'm not going to go get none of it. I'm not going to play these fucking games. And so, when they did the test though, and she called me back in because she said that I had the antibodies for Hep C. And I was like, okay, well, I probably, did that when I was a nurse. And she said, no, they don't have one for it, that there isn't one. She said, the only way you can have the antibodies is that you had it and then you cured yourself. And I said, I cured myself? And she goes, yeah, it happens. People can just cure themselves. And I was like, oh, so that's the only way I could have them, is I had it, and then I've got the antibodies. She's like, that's the only way. And so I was like, damn, book. When did I have the Hep C? Book. I was so sick when I went off of all the pharmaceuticals. I was so sick. I thought I was going to die. And then it came back on those tests that I had colitis. See, fucking I had Hep C, had colitis, I was fucking sick. And it was all the pharmaceuticals. It was fucking killing me. And so I went off of them. And that is, part of my journey is to my own health. That's why I'm such an advocate, such a strong advocate to talk about it, is because, of my own experience of what I went through with my own health. And so now, hearing that lady talking about the Epstein bar, because they don't tell you all this stuff. And so once that's triggered in you, then it's like more susceptible, because she's like, it's an autoimmune. So all these different viruses and stuff that they're dumping out here. So see how they want to make us autoimmune. They want to make us sick and then dump all these viruses because they know that we can't fight them. And so, she was saying something about, then it's with Hashimoto's, and she was talking about like stomach acid, and not having enough stomach acid, it will affect your gut, because your stomach acid is supposed to kill the parasites, and then you get overrun with parasites. So there's all these different things, and I was having so many gut issues. That is why I was having so many problems, because I went and saw the gynecologist, and they had already taken everything out, but they did a bunch of whack shit in there, and they have cut into the same fucking scar over and over and over. Like they just use it like a zipper. Like I am, and when they were cutting into my body all the time, and I was back when I didn't know that we weren't supposed to be letting them cut into our body. It was like before I knew that we were supposed to heal ourselves. It was way before I knew we weren't really flesh and blood. I thought it was more of a duty to my body to take care of it, if there was something broken. But now to find out, even with the fibroids and stuff, there was like a tea or an herb that I could have taken, and it would have gotten rid of all those fibroids. And I always had that cyst where my ovaries were just constantly covered with tons of cysts. kind of in my head, it makes me think about those spiders or those bugs where they've got all their babies on the top. I feel like that's what my ovaries look like, just covered with cysts all the time. And it was always painful. But, you know, and who knows? Who knows if I really have a lot of weird problems because my mom took that abortion pill. Like, I don't know. Like, she's the one who told me. She was sure I was emotionally crippled from that abortion pill, which just confirmed to me all the more that I'm just this weirdo. Like, I'm not kidding you how many times I've been told I'm so neurotic. I am not logical. I'm just so many, like, every kind of put down that could be, I would get it all the time. And, you know, I've been classified a weirdo my whole life. So it's like, fuck it. Yeah, we'll see. You know, I mean, now the weirdo-ness side of me, it seems to have more of a place in the world as the world is changing, where everybody wants to, you know, find their inner weirdo, find their real self, get to, you know, because it is weird when you realize, like, this fake person you made for this whole thing. Like, when the time started falling apart, all the thing about money and stuff, but when I lost my memory, and it was hard. It was hard. It was really hard because I had such a good memory and I could remember people. I would meet people. I could always remember everybody I met. And I may not remember their names, but I always would remember everybody's faces. And I would know, and then it would come into my head how I would know you. Like, I could know it was like, oh, that's a cashier I had back when I used to go to the Safeway. You know, I had a really, really good memory where I thought, like, I could go into one of those contests, I betcha. And so then when that got affected, and so many things were wiped out. And then every day that I would get up, it was like the day before was wiped out. Kind of like what I'm having now. It's just like it's not sticking or something. Everything is just, I don't know how to explain it unless you've experienced it. It's just, it reminds me of being in a dream, that disconnect to going to things. And it just feels weird. And it's, but, you know, I started having it so strong again when all this stuff started going. So I was like, at least I feel like I remember, because this happened to me before when I first got the brain injury, and I was, time was going away, and my memory, and then not being able to make new memories, and so all the memories kept, there was nothing that was connecting. But when the memory thing is when I really started realizing, like, oh my gosh, I'm losing things that don't really matter. Kind of like when all the pictures on my phone and my iCloud, all, you know, for years and years, all Stella's baby video, all of that stuff just all disappeared. And I've got them on, a lot of her baby stuff is on Instagram, but that's another thing. I haven't signed into anything with Instagram, Facebook, or WhatsApp. It's like, that's another thing of, like, you know, taking a stand or something. So, but I'm still on TikTok. But that is like, the last stand or something. That place is such chaos. And then also, I think Twitter's, but I'm not allowed on there. And YouTube, there's something going on with YouTube. I'm not sure what it is, but something. And I don't know if it's part of the show or if it's part of the changes, but something. I don't know if they're gone with another one or something. I don't fucking know. So it's so much of the show is like, I just don't even pay attention to some of the stuff, because it's like, I'll start hearing something and I'll start getting pissed, or I'll start feeling a certain way, and I'll just think, oh my God, don't even give it the energy. This is part of the show. This isn't real. This isn't real. This is just part of the show. This is going to go nowhere. And this is just to get people all involved, to get people energy response or whatever. Maybe you're supposed to have all these giant energy responses because You know, I know it has something to do with we are the ones putting this energy out. Like, I think we're the ones who bust the firmament with our energy, our outrage or something. I don't know. So, uh, okay, because let me think, because so with the sickness and stuff, then that even makes me think more of, because they're definitely releasing, like, in bugs. Like, it's not even safe to be outside. Like, they're literally putting diseased bugs out to try and, it's like, fuck. And I think probably half of the world has goddamn autoimmune disease and don't even know it. And that's why all these people keep getting sick. It is, everything is set up to make them sick. And then so many of them have whatever these big old giant slug things. It's not even, these aren't blood clots. They're not made out of blood. You know, it's something. It looks like fucking plastic. But those are the nanoparticles. It looks more like, not that kind of plastic. It looks like rubber or something, you know, like those stretchy doll things that we used to have. I mean, they still could have them. I think we had like Gumby. I had a Gumby doll and that little horse one too. But that kind of stuff, that's what it looks like. It looks like that inside, like some kind of stretchy thing or something like you see kids play with, and they have it and it'll look like this one thing, but then it could stretch its leg way out. That's what it looks like to me. It doesn't at all. It's not made out of organic. So, I mean, I don't even know why they're labeling it that way. See how confusing labels can be? You can use words and say things and we get an idea, but it's not accurate. Because that's not, I have, all of the ones that I have seen where people have those things laying out, it doesn't mush up and turn into blood. It's not a clot. No, that's not what it is. It's a foreign stuff. It's a foreign entity. It's inside of a lot. I mean, it could be inside of all of ours. Like, you know, they're putting this stuff in on purpose. And today's their, you know, burger thing. So we'll see how many people devour those. There's a lot of poor people out there. A lot of people like cheeseburgers. And then they got to always have their little like, oh, it's a celebration. It's cheeseburger day. We're doing it for cheeseburger day. Really? Huh. 62 years. But we ever had a cheeseburger day? Huh. I don't remember every year. Have we had this cheeseburger day? Every year, have we had a big old celebration of the cheeseburger? We get a big discount on these $6 burgers. It used to be 50 cents. Like, huh. God seems a little. And he got this wackadoo chick, this New York broad. Like, I fucking thought the other people were bad. What the hell? The two brothers, those wackadoo guys. I bet you that one is put to, you know, put out of his misery. Put us out of his misery. I haven't seen him in a while. The other one that was the news guy, I saw him the other day, but that could be old footage. But it seemed like he was, I don't know. He could be being used because he's on media. But there's just like, there's also stand-in people. Like that Fetterman, that guy doesn't even look the same at all. And so, I don't know. People are all just playing these parts. But that governor, no, he was the mayor. I can't think of his name now. Even just their names just reminded me of some sort of Italian gangsters or something. And they were such bullies. And I thought he was so bad, which I bet you he is, you know. He's already met his maker. But the new one, oh my God, she is. Some of these people, it's like, are you fucking kidding? Are you for real? Like, do you really believe this? You believe what you're saying, or are you this evil? Like, she's got a whole new thing on this new one. Boy, they're so lucky. They're getting him right there, hot off the presses in New York. I think they were supposed to come in yesterday, and or no, Friday, or it was either last Friday or this coming Friday. Oh, I'm sure they'll all be free. And she's, telling how great they're going to be. Anyone from 6 months up needs to get in there and get it. And there's other things too, where you see other places and they're not allowed to, and then they're still doing these pop-up places. They're not even supposed to be giving those things. I thought they were all pulled, but then they bring out another one, and then but people don't even know. Like, God, it was so wacky. Because there are going to be people lining up for him. She was telling them to start lining up then. Get ready, here they come. And we're so hot, we're so lucky, we're so excited. This is the best day in New York history. Fuck yeah. So it's wacky. And then, God, it's the way that, just so many things that are going on. And then the people just take it and take it and take it. And then just complain and complain. Like, we just want to complain enough that they're going to do something different. The only way out is to walk away from it, to abandon it. I don't understand people who think like, go in and fight it and save it and stuff like that. What are we fighting for? What are you fighting for? You're fighting for that job because you really need that job? Because there's no other way? There's no other way to live your life without this job that's going to continually make you jump through hoops and stuff like that? Because that is how their system is controlled and created. It's not created for you to go out and have a good life, for you to go out and have a good time. And every single thing they give you is full of stuff to make you sick, because that's how they make money. So it is like, but every person's got to wake up to that truth and see, like, this is no way to live. There's got to be another way. And, it's weird how not being involved in this society is so wacky to people. And to me, it's like, this is a new society. This is like a new way of living. This isn't the only way of living. This is a new way of living that isn't working. So, and then I started seeing a bunch of footage of floods, not over on the East Coast. I haven't seen anything about the hurricanes over there. Just Me23 said he was over there, and it was just like a storm. It wasn't bad at all. And so, sometimes it's like all the hype too is like, are they just trying to get people scared because the energy, they sell that energy? Like, it's so conniving because of all of these dates, I mean, it's just like people just stop talking about it too. Like, we were supposed to start on the Fed now June 1st. I was supposed to, wasn't it June 1st or July 1st? And they said we were starting on it. That was it. And we were going to go all digital and stuff like that. But see, they can't do it because as soon as they start to try, it's going to go on the quantum thing. So they can't put us on their thing. And so, but I don't know how it just drags out and drags out and drags out. It's like, well, what do they think they're going to do? Are they all just sitting back there in the back room? Is what they just go to Davos real quick and they'll have a meeting? Well, what do we do next? Like, what do you think you're going to do? Like, it's just stupid. Like, it just keep dragging it out and dragging it out. And so, I don't know. Yeah. All the money stuff, I mean, all the BRICS thing is, what gives me hope. Because it's like where you actually see, like, oh, okay, they really are all going on this Gasara, or they're all going on Gasara. That's the global part of it. I don't remember what all the letters stand for, but, it's all about this peace treaty and equality and living by God's law, not man's law, and everybody's in agreement, we're going to live like this. So it's just like that kind of thing. And so seeing all these other people going on it, gives hope of like, okay, this is real. This isn't just crazy talk. This is really happening. I've been watching this happen over these years. And, whatever is going on here, how they keep dragging this out, like when that they had bankrupted the corporation, the Federal Reserve was emptied out, they've retrieved all this gold, they've made all these arrests from all these elitist hoarders. And so, all these things are really happening. It's just like this last bit. And is it that because they think the more that they get people to pay attention to Joe collapsing this is, that they're going to make it less tension, like there'll be less civil war or something, because we're all on board with hating that guy. If it had it with the other guy, see, then it would be absolute mayhem. So they have to have it go into the other one where everybody is like, yeah, no, see, no wonder. But there would still be, but I don't think there's just a lot of people who voted for him. And a lot of the people who did, it's all a part of their lesson plan, what they have to face through this thing. But I don't, it's not at all the same where he has a lot of supporters or something. He has a lot of people out there trying to say, oh, he's doing good. But I was like, are you paid to say that? Because that is some wacky shit. Like, are you paying attention to anything in this world? Like, what is acceptable to you? What's going on? What's good? Like, do you listen to people? Do you hear struggles? You hear people can't pay their stuff. They can't afford to live. They're all stressed out. They're all crying. They're all losing everything. So, but in the footage that I saw, so Japan had a big old giant tsunami flood, a big old disaster. And I don't know how many people are dead in that one. But when you see the footage, it's bad. And China, a big giant flood. And Brazil, too. And with those two, because they're on the peace treaty. And so I would, if it's if it's these like Soro characters and Klaus and all these guys who have the access to the machines, the ones who have all the money, who pay for, who buy everybody's soul. So if they have access to the machines and they're just keep hitting places, because there's also going to be there's natural disasters, and then there's these beefing up the natural disasters, and there's all these like there's so much going on. But there is the whole cataclysm thing. There's this whole thing of the earth is going to change. Like, there's going to be big changes on the landscape. Like, that's a part of the cyclic events. Like, if you go back and look at through all the maps that you can find, that you can access throughout time, the maps have changed. The land masses, our landscapes have changed. Just like, for instance, the ice wall used to be island. It used to be tropical. So there's just been these changes in the current, in just like the ages changing and stuff. It's just, just like how the seasons change. Just as we are birthed and we age, we season throughout our existence. So everything has like these cycles. So that's why, if we get into harmony with the earth, we shouldn't fear these cycles. We should be, kind of riding through the storm. But to always know, like, if the cycle took you out, that's what was supposed to happen. You didn't do anything wrong. It was supposed to happen that way because you were done with your storyline. You're going to the next one. It's not, we're not supposed to be in one place forever. We're supposed to, confirmation, double confirmation. We're supposed to go through lots of different experiences. And so, this one, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to ride this out. That's why I think there's going to be something that will happen. Oh, her hair way back on. Ugh. like down my throat. Ugh, I kept feeling it. Oh, it could be Stella's hair breathing it in because she shakes. I probably breathed it in. I saw all those little nanobots get in those. Ugh, yuck. It makes me like, I don't know. I have like these weird tingles. That was weird. So anyways, but see, there's a peace treaty. So, but it's not the good guys aren't the ones who would be attacking anybody with those weather things. But so some of these places could still be under attack because China and Brazil are on the bricks and they're still in horrible floods. Really bad. In Indonesia, Greece, Spain, Vegas, there's like tons and tons of really bad floods all over the place. So, and that is a part of the landscape changing and stuff too. One of the places was another one where they just got, maybe it was Libya, or just got filled with mud. There's also Turkey too. Africa has got really bad, it's got a bunch of bad stuff. Because I think they just had a big earthquake. I think they had an earthquake, but I think there have been floods. And there's also a weird thing, like Africa is huge. Like that's one thing that they don't make us really understand how really huge Africa is. Like every single one of us could go live on Africa and still be all completely spread out as we are now. It's huge. And I guess right in the middle part, there's some weird water thing. It's like a swampy kind of thing. And supposedly that it's been seen that there's dinosaurs there. So that's how, you know, when you talk about like these different portals and realities and stuff like that, you know, it is like we have all these land masses, because that's what's going to be past the ice wall. That's going to be what's outside the firmament, is more of these same kind of land masses. And that is why I think it's going to be kind of like we're all going to become explorers, and we're going to, you know, be able to go out and learn about our history, go out and learn about other places, and just go out and experience so much stuff. Like, God, it's going to be so cool. Just, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be an explorer. I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to go out and explore. So it's like now we'll have that in my lifetime if we get to go out and just explore this world. And so I think it's really exciting. And I think there's going to be a lot like here in all the different places, like under the earth plane realm, that there's going to be a lot of digs or historical finds and stuff, just like what they keep having now, all these different historical finds that keep throwing wrenches and all of the things that we've been told. And so there's going to be so much more interesting. But I know that everything isn't connected like we're trying to connect it. But it is going to make it more confirmation of just these different experiences that are created kind of like by the soul, for the soul, in different periods of time, and just all of the different realms around us and stuff. Just like, you know, there could be fucking dinosaur, serpent creature things living in this place. They don't ever leave their little space. They just stay there living. And then all these other parts of Africa, there's no telling the different, you know, the different realms and stuff. Like in the Amazon, there's all these different places. I'm sure there's just all these like loopholes or portals or open space where there's creatures and stuff that we think, you know, are monsters or creatures or something. And they're just living right here, right in the same place, but in like a different kind of like time zone. Like a different, that's weird too, how they do us in all these time zones, because that is kind of like being in a realm or a reality is kind of like a time zone. You're in that time, in that area. So whatever your reality is in this area, like right here, but this area could have a whole bunch of realities that are all through all different times. And they can all be occurring at the same time. That is why there can be like these mashup crossovers, you know, where people just all of a sudden go through a portal and they're somewhere else. And I bet you that, you know, throughout history of our planet, so I bet there's a lot of people who have just disappeared into another realm. They just went into another realm and never came out of it. Like time, like a time, like what we would think of like a time traveler, like they traveled back in time or to a different space and time and then never came out of it. Like couldn't find their way back or something. I betcha. Because there's a story of a farmer that happened to. And it's a whole long story. I may have even seen it with Mr. Ballin. I don't know. It was during first part of quarantine. I listened, like, it was so many things. I'd listen to that chapter. I'd listen to Mr. Ballin, go on lives all the time. I wasn't going live, but I go in the chats of the lives and talk to people. And that was fun. So I know that I'd heard this story back then, but it was like a farmer, and it seems like it was like it could have been in the early 1900s. I don't really remember when it was. And he was out in his thing, and he disappeared. And they kept going out and like trying to find him. And there was a whole weird thing. I can't remember the whole story, but there's been other stories too where I've heard where the person is kind of just like right there and just disappears. And that's just going through another realm. And then when they don't come back, they just stayed in that one. And I don't know, you know, if everything seems the same. Because I think there's people who have shown up in ours. And then people think like, oh, no. I had heard, because you can look this one up. That one you can probably look up about the farmer disappears in his field, never to be found. And then there's another one about these little green kids that showed up. I think it seems like maybe that one was in the Netherlands or something. Oh, I just popped my knuckle on accident. That these little green kids showed up, and the people of the village started feeding them or something, and were asking like where did they come from, and they were saying that they came out from this other lands or something. I don't remember the whole story, but that everybody in their place is all green because it's like they crossed out of another realm, because in this place that we're at, there's other things happening. The thing that we are focused on, we think is the only thing happening, but there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of realms, and everything is all around us. Like if people really knew, they would probably be more scared, because then they would think, oh my gosh, how would I know? If I'm walking, how would I know if I would just walk, and would I go through a portal? Because I don't think people realize how portals are around us. But I think that that's what so much of their little habitat world that they created was to keep us contained. You know, it's like we're their trophy, we're their little toy. It's like I'm a cat playing with a mouse, like that we're their little mice. And so, you know, they want to have us contained in this thing. They don't, and then, I don't know, the more stories that we hear about supernatural things, like just, if you go in and listen to some of Mr. Ballin's, like the missing 411 stories and stuff, because he'll do ones that are, like got a little supernatural stuff to them too, of weird things where people go and they disappear in the forest, and that they've got everybody out looking for them for 3 days, and then all of a sudden they come walking up and they're like, what's going on, you know? And they're like, where you been? We've been out here looking for you 3 days, a week, whatever. And the person will be like, what are you talking about? It's only been one night. I just was up at that cabin over there, and I just went in and was talking to them, and then I spent the night there because it got cold. And everybody is just like, what cabin? What are you talking about? And they'll go take them, and there's no cabin. And that story has happened a bunch of different times in different woods and stuff like that. There's different realms. There's different things, and you can cross over in them without realizing. You could sit there and see a ghost person and not realize you're seeing a ghost person. You know, it is like your own awareness to the reality. I think that's why so many people are starting to notice so much weird stuff. It's just because they're becoming more aware. They're getting off of this just going on autopilot and not using awareness, not using your senses in evaluating your environment like a natural, you know, like beings in nature or something, like deers and bears. And I just saw this, it was kind of weird footage. Like, I'm not even sure the whole point of it or something, but it was like a big farm piece of machinery going through a field, but the camera is right up here on this little duck. I think it's some type of duck sitting in the field on top of its eggs. And so this big giant machine starts coming to it, and the duck doesn't move. So the camera is right down there to show that the duck just is not leaving its eggs. It's going to stay there and protect its eggs. And this giant machine goes over it and over it, and then the machine stops, lifts the chopper up or things, and goes over it. And the duck just sits there and keeps on going. And I think part of it is our natural, for some, I mean, there's parts of us that have been cut off for some people. I think, you know, where there's like no mothering instinct or something in some people. Like, you know, there could be more going on that we don't understand. But a typical natural mother has that feeling of protection over its young, its children, its babies or whatever, even go against its own husband to protect its young. And so some moms don't. Like when I was just talking about my one ex's mom, there's a lot of women who, I mean, my one daughter, I'm sure she thinks that I wasn't protecting her. And, you know, it's all by perspective. It's all by perspective. But anyways, so but to me, like the nature thing too, it was kind of like, do they always see the, like, I don't think they have the same thought process of like, oh, this big thing is coming. Like an impulse could be like fear, I'm going to go, but they're not going to leave their eggs. So they just have to sit and protect their eggs. But I don't think they're thinking like death could be the outcome. I don't think that they have that kind of fear like we do. Like we have this fear that was put into us about death could be the outcome. Like if that happened, you could die. But I don't think animals are thinking like that. Like when a deer goes running out across the street, I don't think it's thinking, oh, well, I could get ran over and it could hurt and I could die and that would suck. Or a squirrel, even a chipmunk. Like I killed that little chipmunk on one of my road trips. I still feel bad for it. But I mean, it was really excited. It was really happy when it died. It probably just kept on running. But I don't think that the animals are sitting there thinking about the possibilities of what could happen, like us as a human animal. But they've programmed that into us to sit there and think, like, and the illusion that we can somehow have control over death by controlling our sickness, controlling all of these different things. That no, none of that has to do with it. It has, you have, your birth time comes with an expiration time. It's set. It's not a time that's varying. It's not a time that, well, maybe it could happen then. Well, you know, if you smoke too many cigarettes, it's going to move up. But no, it's set. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you smoke. Doesn't matter if you eat bacon sandwiches. Doesn't matter any of that stuff. It's set. Your things, like you eat bacon sandwiches and you have a lot of fats and stuff, then you will have the repercussions. That'll be a part of your consequences, a part of your lessons, is your consequences or repercussions to how you treat your own health. So it's, you know, in smoking, you know, you're just sitting there, smoke, 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 smoke. It's going to affect your health. And a lot of people who smoke like that, who are way out of balance, because I'm not going to say every smoker, I think it's, everything has to do with balance. And so if the people who are just sitting there, smoke, 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 they usually don't eat. A lot of times they just drink coffee, smoke cigarettes, not eat food, so they're not taking in healthy stuff. So they are just, they're being too hard on their body. They're just, and when you realize, you know, it's not flesh and blood, you're affecting it in a different way, being out of balance emotionally and stuff. Like what I was talking about, your physicality is a representation of you. So how you take care of yourself is represented in your physicality. So how you care for yourself matters, although you're not flesh and blood, that you, all these other things that they tell you, but it is still is a reflection of you, of how you care about yourself. Oh my God, that was a total stab in the throat. It's got to be confirmation. So anyways, that is a thing to, or I don't know, realize or think about. I don't remember what the fuck I was talking about. All of a sudden I had the storms come back into my mind. And, you know, there's just so much stuff that is happening so fast, of like just back-to-back storms of all of these different places, and such severe flooding and stuff. And then, you know, one of these videos I saw in there is it's like, let's see, trying to deny climate change. It's like, oh my God. It's not climate change. Oh yeah, and when I got up, Estella wanted to go out, so I opened the door, and it was so, so windy. Oh my gosh. I could not believe how loud the wind was, and it was so weird because it was up real high. It wasn't coming down and ringing any of my wind chimes. None of my wind chimes were ringing, but the noise was so loud of the wind. But so, that to me is something. It's something with them doing something, moving the wind. It didn't seem natural. And, you know, so I don't know. Who knows what to expect with all of a sudden yesterday. And I've got so many spiders out right now. So many spiders. And part of the day is cold and then it goes warm. But I have to go out and get in the sun to feel any warmth. And it's pretty chilly in my little place. And see, it just kind of made me sick just thinking about like them taking this place away from me too. It's just like, you know, I'm gonna fight and go see the lawyers, see what they say, see what these papers are, see what their things are, see what my rights are to fight, and then just, you know, just go with the flow, go with the fight, go with what's right, and then just see. You know, if I was even thinking, well, you know, I could, you know, with whatever money I'm going to have, that's another thing too. The money could crash at any time, but when it crashes, see, it's going to be a good thing. It won't matter. I can't go buy a camper because then they can't come and do anything. But I was like, well, they keep keeping the money going, which I just don't see. The way it's gotten so absurd too. Like we're sending another $6 billion to the Ukraine. It's like, it's got to be about to go. It's just got to be. And, but because what was I going to say? Joe's got to go. It's got to be. I haven't seen any I was trying to take notice if I saw any of him up talking with the flag. I haven't been seeing any of that. It's like everybody starts sharing these same things, but I saw one of him walking. He was walking across the field, and I don't know, he was walking kind of goofy or something. I think that they make him walk goofy just to make it seem like, see, like everything about this guy it's absurd. There's nothing real about him. Just this whole thing on the press conference and asking that lady, well, about his age and him running again. Just her whole response. And then that Psaki, have her out responding about some other ridiculousness. It's just the whole thing is so absurd. It's gotta collapse. And the money thing, it's all gotta go hand in hand. And it's gotta be close. And then with all these storms and stuff, it's like everything it's going so fast. It's gotta just start, really, especially over here in America. We gotta start having some of these. I'm so glad that one bank closed, and who knows what it's going to go Monday, because that was Friday. If there's going to be more that don't open tomorrow, hopefully, that'd be the best fucking thing. If all these fucking banks don't open, and then the people start getting mad, and that will get people's attention. You want to get people's attention, hit their pocketbook. You get their attention then, you can fucking spray the sky full of poison. They still just like, well, it's climate change. I mean, I'm sure it's for a good reason. It's like, okay. But you hit them with the pocketbook, and then that's going to get their attention. Like, maybe that is the big awakening thing that's going to get everybody's attention and slap them awake, is all of a sudden, your money. Because those people all out there, that they, the ones that they were talking to on the news, they had big money. Like, they had $100,000 in their account and stuff. $30,000 deposit and shit like that. And so, I'm sitting here arguing with the bank over this $222.78. Give it back to me. And they're like, well, the grocery store took it. It's like, oh, okay. The grocery store took it. The grocery store, I'm waiting for the grocery store to give it back. Like, but these people, they were pissed. It's like, they were getting emails and stuff, weird stuff about the money, and the money just disappeared. So they all go down there, and then the bank manager's out there saying, it's all covered by the FDIC. All your money will be returned to you. And we don't keep the money in the bank. We only keep 10%, because they fucking don't keep the money in the bank. They only keep 10%. They are allowed to use the rest in their, it's like giving your money to a gambling addict and say, hold on to this for me. During the Kentucky Derby, hold on to this for me. Don't do anything with it. I'll be back. Good luck. That's what we've had going on. They've spent your money. They'll have it to replace. They don't want you coming down asking for it, because they don't have it, and it's not real. It's just a number on a piece of paper, and micro, macro, that. So those people Monday, hopefully there'll be more drama with that, and that will lead to more drama. Hopefully more people, hopefully that's just the start, and it's going to be one bank after another, domino effect. And, then I won't even have to go see the lawyer. Then I'll be like, whew, that was a close one. Well, I don't have to move this winter. But what I was thinking was I could always just get a camper. My mom's got property. I could go get property. Because once everything goes, then, because there will be so much property and stuff out there. They're going to want us out there, taking care of the land and stuff. Tending, not up in high-rise metal buildings. Like, what the fuck are we doing? We're just taking. We're taking from the planet. What are we giving back to it? A bunch of fucking toxic air. So we got to get back into harmony, into sync with the planet. I just got this visual of all these deers and all these wild animals going into hotels and stuff. Like it's crazy. Like they convince people that they could have more. You could be smarter. You could have more. You could all of these things, and people are like, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go live in a concrete building, and I'm gonna fight for everybody else, fight with everybody else, and they jack up the prices, and everybody just keeps on doing it. Well, I got to get 2 jobs now, and it's just so crazy. You know, we should have seen as soon as you needed more than one income, as soon as we needed 2 incomes to keep a house going, as soon as they started bringing houses up to going over $100,000, as soon as cars started going up to $20,000, like it was wacky. Once cars went even to $10,000, it's just, it's ridiculous. And even when they started fucking taking our metal steel cars and saying, oh no, we don't need those anymore. Here, we're going to give you plastic cars. These cars made out, every goddamn thing that they made is made out of goddamn plastic. It's because they fucking own the plastic. It's like these, it's aggravating world. So aggravating. You start talking about it, it's just like, ugh. See, that's why you have to recognize in your own responses. It's like, okay, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. There's nothing you can do. You get yourself all worked up, get yourself mad, get your blood pressure going, get yourself going crazy. You know, you go to so many things. It's just, this is our practice. Let it go. It's our practice of our own minding our own mind, minding our own emotions, and seeing for ourselves, you know, our control, taking our control back, as they just want to whip us around like that wag the dog thing. They just want to whip us around like they don't. Our emotional stability, that's why they offer a magic pill for that. Lots of them. It just so happens there's also an opportunity to cross the blood-brain barrier and shoot a lot of plastic into us. So that's cool. So, but to me, with all of these storms and stuff, in all of the different things going, we got to be close to something happening. But then, you know, you can't get yourself set up to be like, well, if it doesn't happen this week, you know, I'm going to fall apart. If it doesn't happen this week, well, I guess it's never going to happen, because that's the kind of stuff that makes you feel like, I'm sure that's the dark energy that feeds those kind of, well, is it really ever going to happen? Is anything ever going to happen? Are we going to just be like this forever? Are we all going to end up in camp like this is all fake? Is it all? But just remember, this is really happening in other countries. Like, I don't think there's, I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's some Russian floods going on or something. Or are they all living, you know, their best life? And they all have all their money, resources, everything's going good. Everything's getting reset there. Their financial, because we got to go through, there'll be a lot of resetting. We won't just automatically go into, you know, going out and traveling around in hover cars. They'll be like, we'll go through steps, because they'll have the financial collapse, the government collapse. That's going to go so together. And so much about disclosure, so much about history, and it is going to be included with all these patents, is in the history and all of that. We're going to find out about all of the hidden technology, all these patents that are going to be released. You see how there's going to be people just getting hit just with anger. I think some of the people who are going to get the maddest is going to be people who lost family members when they find out nobody had to die. But you got to remember that you have a window of time. There's nothing that can change that. That everybody who is passing is supposed to pass. It's part of the story. It's part of their storyline. And so we have to let go through the process of all these occurrences are because they're supposed to occur the way they occur. There's no, they try and convince us like that we have some sort of control over things that we don't have control over, because that keeps us frustrated. It keeps us, you know, depleted, confused, upset, thinking something's wrong with us. It works for everybody else. It's just us. Something's wrong with us. So, you know, it works to their benefit. So, but when we realize, like, no, it's not about controlling. It's about coming into allowing allowing your life to happen, not fighting your life, allowing it to occur the way it's supposed to occur. I just saw this person and they were saying about, celebrities, and it's time that we finally are no longer idolizing these people who, they basically got up their own asses, got so full of themselves. But we all, jumped on board and, thought that they were better than us and stuff like that. And they thought they were better than us. And she's like, but they were just lucky. Those are just lucky people. And it's like, that is where I want to say it's not luck. This isn't about luck. That's why people don't, it isn't like luck. It isn't like, well, if I was there at the right time, if I would have just been there 5 minutes sooner, if I would have come a little bit later, none of that stuff. It is destiny. Exactly what's supposed to happen is supposed to happen. All those people who became famous, it was because they were supposed to. It's a part of their lessons. It's a part of their experience. It isn't by luck. It isn't by any of those things. This illusion, this concept that it is like, it's something that you can chase. It's something that you need to go out and chase. No, start looking at these storylines differently as the soul storyline of what they're experiencing, going and, following their dreams to go try, and then having to be put into these situations where they're selling their soul and getting opportunities to put themselves above others and stuff. Like, there's lots of lessons that each individual soul had to go through. It has nothing to do with just fame. And then a lot of times fame just puts you out there as more of being judged because everybody is paying attention to your experience. And so it's more like, being stoned or something. Is that everybody's paying attention and throwing stones at you. So it's not just like all, but that is a part of the illusion that they sell. You can get famous, you can get rich, and then all your life, all your dreams come true. Everything is great, which isn't true. There's plenty of famous people who have come out and said, it's not what you think it is. And so, but you still have all these people chasing it. But just this whole idea of it's luck. It's not luck. Luck, luck is, I mean, you could say that there's some lives that would live a common experience that we would consider to be lucky lives because everything seems like, well, they got it all. But that, it has to do with their lessons. It has to do with what they are here to learn and experience. So, but definitely to put that kind of concept, oh, the lucky ones, that's a way to change your way of thinking. And but a lot of people are waking up to the creation of the idols and no longer going to just follow blindly and be led by people who, like I said, with that mayor or governor, whoever the hell that lady is, she I can't imagine her not knowing the truth. And then to say the stuff she's saying is just such lies. It's like so criminal. And that, to me, it was the same thing with a lot of these celebrities and stuff. Like, some of them, they may have known, or they may not have known when they were out there speaking about some of the stuff. They may not have seen the whole agenda. They may have literally just being used for their platform. But there was some things that some of them said where it was like, you have to know. Like, you cannot be this stupid. And, but then also, it's like, how much of them are going to come out that they're some of these people are goddamn robots. Like, you've been idolizing a robot. Fuck. And then some of these people are just like CGI. Like, they're not even real. So, and it is so weird too when you watch some of these old movies and some of these old movie stars, how much there's a new star that looks exactly like them with same kind of mannerisms. It's like, fuck, I swear to God, they have like a a lab where they make some of these people that they put into the movies. Not all of them, but I think that they do some. Like they get like a something that they think works, and then they just repeat it and make more of these people, like with their DNA and stuff. And I just saw Alex Jones. He was saying, it was just a little clip, but he was going off on the lab grown meat, which I swear to God, I don't know what the hell is going to be in those burgers for a penny. Like, it's just gross that anybody's going to eat that shit. But there's so much shit we've been eating anyways. But he said that in order to grow real tissue, you got to have a blood supply, blah, blah, blah. He said that they're not growing like real tissue, like meat, like what they're saying. They're growing cancer cells or something. So they're just growing a big old fucking tumor and then feeding it to you. Like, it is, I mean, it's gross. It's weird. Like, growing in a petri dish, everything a petri dish to me is about growing bacteria and stuff. So to sit there and think, oh, you're going to go in a lab and grow something to eat, it's like gross. I don't think you'd find very many people who've ever worked in a lab that want to eat anything in a lab, eat anything out of a lab. And that's just gross. But these fucking mad scientists, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about, it's all about them being the smartest, them making the most money, selling their crazy ass ideas to these crazy people who want to fucking rule the world. They all this evil works together to try and overtake the world. It's so weird because it's so much like a real movie. It's just so ridiculous. It's like, it's weird because when you realize, like, you know, your soul and, you know, we're waking up and realizing all this stuff going on, then you realize like we literally come into this movie scene, like a movie script, like a play or something. Like, in this one is so horrendous. It's just so horrendous. Like I always liked old scary sci-fi movies and stuff. Always, ever since I was a kid, but I didn't know I was actually in one. And we are in. But anyways, I don't know like how much of this storm stuff is natural and how much of it is them still attacking people. But I'm just gonna. There's some other things besides, you know, this whole meat thing that they're going to feed these people, and then something, I don't know. This is the 16th, I think, and it could be the 17th. I don't know. It could, so if it's the 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, so within a week. So it should be like a week that we should be able to see if anything is really going to come of all this. But then that could be the fucking thing on the 10-4. Like, feed them this stuff and then wait. And then on 10-4, trigger it to go down. And then all of a sudden we got these people who are suddenly triggered to eat everybody. I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about when they say about this zombie thing. Because even on the CDC website or something, when they had about this zombie thing, there's a whole bunch of different ones. Amazon even has a part of what will happen in a zombie apocalypse. And I think they all say that there are going to be people who want to eat people. So, mindless people who just want to eat people. Like, it's so weird. Like, they created all this stuff. So, anyways, I guess we just got to see. We just got to see what's going to happen. What's going to happen with the burgers. Maybe people are going to eat them and people are just going to fall over and die from it right then, too. I mean, anything can happen at this point. Like, seriously. So, I don't know. You know, I'm just got to sit here and... But I'm having company today. The girl, the one that had stayed with me for a while, she's coming and bringing a friend today. And I'm going to make dinner. She's all excited. She's like, oh my God, I haven't had a home-cooked dinner in so long. But she lives with a mom and this girl that she's bringing. And um, their son, it's a whole long story, but anyways, but I don't know, maybe the mom doesn't ever cook. But anyway, she was all excited. I'm excited to get to see her, and excited that she's just doing so good and, out there living her life. Like, the system fucking just really wants to, the kids that they pulled into the system, like, it's like they set it up from the time those kids are little that they want, it's like they have a funneling system in our society. And so the kids that they put into the system at a young age, it's kind of like they want to set them up for, well, we got them as, we'll make sure that they work out of a hotel somewhere or something, get on drugs somewhere. Like they set them up for that part of life, like in the tier system. They try and keep them down by starting them in the system. And usually, when somebody goes into the system, there's some kind of issue, mental health, poverty, something gets you pulled into it. And then the ones that they keep in it, then, those kids, they have a hard time. They are put through the ringer. And so, anyways, I'm just excited that she's, I think she's doing good, just because she's out there living her life. She was so suicidal there for a while, and she's out there living her life, and she's having experiences, and she's being thoughtful and mindful, and she's growing, and she's trying to understand things, and so I'm excited for her. I'm excited to see her, and I'm going to try and focus on that. And I got to go back and clean up that room now because I've got it just spread out with all my suitcases and all my stuff I had packed. So I think I'll just put a bunch of stuff back in them and put them under the bed so they have a place to sleep back there. So anyways, I don't know. I just, an hour and a half. I was like, sometimes I'll feel like, man, have I been talking like 2 hours? But it hasn't been talking that long. I can't think of anything else. I feel like I'm already repeating myself. But I definitely do feel anxiety or stress in regards to them putting that up. Even a tinge of humility of them just going out and then just putting my business out, across my gate like that, like they were trying to do it and be rude. And then plus, I just feel like they keep driving by my house and driving by my house. And one thing in this paperwork, I don't see any court things. So I want to see what this lawyer says too, because it could just all be like a big show of them trying to strong arm me into calling and making some payments and getting back on schedule, getting back into their good, It's like, but you guys are criminals, and I can't, like even if I had a business back in the day where the gangsters would come in and say, well, you're going to pay us if you want our protection, and then they start attacking you and stuff. See, I can't play that. Like, I would have had my business burned up or something, because I just can't participate in, like, I can't pay the criminals to do their criminal stuff to me. Like, I can't just participate in it. It makes me feel dirty, makes me feel wrong or something. So I have to stand up. It's like, even if it is like David and Goliath, then we're standing up to the giants, micro, macro. But, I just have to. So anyways, we'll just see how it goes. I'm going to try and not stress about it, but it definitely is on my mind. And thinking, oh my God, having to pack, if I have to move everything. So if I go over there, if I buy a camper, I could put it down on my mom's property. I could go move in there. I could get a storage unit, put my stuff in it, and then just wait and ride it out until everything collapses, and then just pick up the pieces and go about, see where I'm going, see where I'm going to be. But I had already been saying about maybe I wanted to spend the winter on the other side of the mountain and look for a rental over there. And so, isn't it funny how I said that? And then within a couple days, I get those papers on there. That's why everything that you say and stuff, it does make a difference. But everything you say, you were always going to say it. Like, it's always going to play the way it's going to play. So, but how many times do we hold back? And how many times do we not recognize that how we are directing the energy? We're directing the stuff. So anyways, I don't know. Maybe go find a place to rent over in Yakima, be close to the grandkids until the stuff goes down. And then see, like, I don't know, rental stuff is so ridiculous too. They charge so much. It makes way more sense to me to just go buy some camper or something, or even put some money into my mom's shed, just get some insulation, put in my furniture, well, a bed and a little bit of furniture or something, and then just stay in that until, so it's not like I'm like, I don't feel like I'm going to be on the streets or something. It is more of just like, oh my God, just having to pack and move and stuff. And I was even thinking, God, do I go out, take down all my fence and take I'm taking my fence with me. I will take all my bed knobs and broomstick headboards, though. I will take all my headboards with me. But I was even thinking, geez, do I take down all my fencing so I can take it to the next place? And I was like, there's so many things. Like, this would be the third house that I had fixed up and then lost. And this one, though, I've done it all my own, all by myself. And but I mean, like, my son-in-law came and did the porch, but it is me who's been doing all of this stuff. And so I don't know. If I lose this one too, then it's just like, I don't know. I feel like I trust the universe, though. Like, I know whatever's supposed to happen is supposed to happen. I know the best thing is going to come out of it all. So I just, as the anxiety goes, I just got to keep, not, it's kind of like when the anxiety comes, then to feed it logic. Don't get caught up in like, oh my God, what will I do? What will I do? Like, I'm already, okay, well, I'll just get a place and go over, stay at my mom's. Then I got freedom too. I can just come and go as I please. Wouldn't have anything to pay, just pay some for electricity and stuff. So she's not going to charge me to live in her shed. If I had to get a camper, then I would be closer to my kids. So, I mean, no matter which way it goes, there's always two sides to everything. And I know for sure, that is something that I've been being told for a while, that I was going to be being moved, but I don't know where or how or any of that stuff. I don't know what's going to go on. And I don't know. It's just one of those things where you just got to, we'll watch the signs together. We'll watch how this plays out together. I'll share all of the things that I go through, because I'm sure it will help other people to maneuver through what they're going through, because it's a lot to maneuver through, and it's a lot when, we haven't been taught, and we've been more trained to be defeatist, to just get beat down and feel like, it's just too hard. We can never get ahead. What are we supposed to do? And so anyways, I'll share all of the stuff that I, as I go through it. Tomorrow, I'm going to, well, I'll record in the morning, but I'm just going to call around to some lawyers' offices and stuff and see what happens with that. It's just like when something happens, you follow through, but if you start hitting walls, then it's like, okay, well, I gotta let go. This isn't what's supposed to happen. I'm supposed to go a different direction. So it's recognizing when you're hitting walls. And some walls you got to see, like, no, I'm supposed to go over that wall. That wall's there for me to, it's an obstacle. It's not a direction. It's not something turning me in another direction. Because when I was getting this place, I was hitting into some obstacles where everything was all set and everything, and all of a sudden they couldn't find something, and they were telling me, oh, well, it doesn't exist. And then they can tell you can't buy the house because the people who built it didn't go and get a title or license for building the house or some bullshit. And I was like, no way. Somebody who does that does not have things to code. Bullshit. And I said, there's the thing is there. It is misfiled or something. And of course I was right, but I had to go through such a fucking thing. Even the realtor, she's like, no, well, I'll just find you a different place. I'm like, no, it's the thing is there. I'm telling you. And, so anyways, but you got to recognize obstacles. And then when there's walls, like if you just keep hitting a wall, then that is a sign that you're going in the wrong direction. You need to go the other direction. So anyways, we'll just see how this plays out. We'll see what the lawyers say. We'll see what goes on this week with the banking. We'll see what goes on with, the impeachment. It's all a charade. So anyways, I will quit just rambling here and just get this day started. But we'll just see how it goes. But, oh yeah, I will have company in the morning. I don't know how long they will be here. And I imagine there will be somebody sleeping on the couch. So I probably won't be able to record first thing in the morning. I may not be able to record. Like, I don't even know how long they're going to stay. I don't know if they're going to head back to Spokane in the morning when they get up. Like, I have no idea what their plan is. Because she had just said, can we come out and see you? Because they were over by Seattle. And I said, yeah, sure, come over. And you can spend the night and I'll make dinner and stuff. So, but before they get here, we'll see how the day goes. And maybe I'll do another recording and then I'll leave that one, even if I put it on. But maybe I'll put one and then I'll keep it for tomorrow morning. Maybe I'll just record one later this afternoon for tomorrow morning and then I'll put it on. Because I know some people just as kind of helps to just have that other person who is, going through it and talking about what's going on and stuff. So, for one thing, you don't feel crazy. You can see the bigger meaning, the bigger purpose about the stuff going on, because they want to keep us all just stressed out. The world is ending and all of that. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of ends. There's going to be a lot of things that are ending, but it's not the end of the world. It's the end of an age. It's the end of a lot of souls' storylines. A lot of stories are closing. A lot of people are, that's why there's so many people who are leaving. Storylines are closing. Cycles are coming to a close. All sorts of stuff is going on. So, but that's why, you don't want to get all caught up in their storyline of life and death and all their bullshit. So anyways, I will definitely try and make sure that there's something in the morning, because I know that is nice when you have something to, especially like right now where everything is so stressful. So anyways, I'll just keep on talking and talking. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.